Alchemy is a very creative magic system. In real life, alchemy was supposed to be a science that could turn metals into gold, discover a universal cure, and discover the secret to immortality. The actual mechanics of the magic in FMA was created entirely by Hiromu Arakawa. In summary, alchemy is matter manipulation with two strict rules. With all transmutations, mass must be conserved, and objects can only be transmuted into other objects with the same basic makeup. This is one of the most scientific magic systems I've seen, and it makes way for numerous possibilities, in theory. In execution, alchemy never met its full potential. I'll start small, then I'll go big. Level 1 lies with Edward Elric, the protagonist. His alchemy type is what I'll call Earth type. He manipulates rocks and metals. The problem is the limited creativity in his moveset. He mostly uses two moves. 1. Attack/defense/move with earth structures, and 2. Create weapons out of earth. Move 1 is used to create earth spikes, walls, columns, and more. Move 2 is usually used to create melee weapons. Both of these moves don't get very creative. With move 1, Ed usually just attacks by launching his structures directly at his opponent in a straight line. He might get creative with the shape and make a fist, but it's essentially the same attack. There's room for strategy in the size, speed, or direction of the attack, but for Ed, it's just a straightforward attack. Look at earthbenders for what creative earth manipulation could look like. It's almost the same power, but benders can make attacks come from different directions. They can turn defenses into attacks, or they can move the ground below the enemy's feet as a subtle distraction. Now weapons. When Al fought Pride with the Philosopher's Stone, he shapeshifted a sword, which was a good move. How come Ed and Al don't use this more often? If they can trade density for mass to shapeshift the earth, why can't they shapeshift a weapon? Another problem is firearms. I understand that Ed doesn't like guns, but he's created cannons before and after that scene. Izumi, who has the same type as them, also created a crossbow once. Projectile weapons like these would be extremely powerful and add to strategy, but these are rarely used. Overall, in Ed, Al, and Izumi's Earth-type alchemy, they rarely get creative despite there being multiple opportunities. Level 2 deals with different types of alchemy. Earth-type has Ed, Al, Izumi, Armstrong, Ironblood, and Silver. Fire-type has Roy. Explosion-type has Kimblee. Destruction-type has Scar. All of these characters have level 1 problems. Armstrong is even less creative with his earth attacks. The Ironblood alchemist created cannons, chain spikes, and walls. The Silver alchemist created chain spikes, shuriken, and a sword. Roy and Kimblee use the same move every time. They are one-trick ponies. But level 2 is the fact that there is rarely any crossover. Ed has the most crossover, and it's not much. He copies Scar's Destruction alchemy, and copies Greed's Ultimate Shield, which is in alchemy. Scar uses Earth alchemy in his final fight. Roy uses Earth alchemy once towards the end. That's about it. Earth alchemy is the most basic type, so that's not even saying much. How come characters don't cross over more? While I think it would have been sick to see Ed level up by learning flame alchemy, the story gives clear reasons as to why only Mustang can use it. But that doesn't stop Ed or anyone else smart enough from using explosion alchemy. He and Al both saw it up close too. Imagine how cool it would have been if Ed used flame and explosion alchemy in his final fight with Father. I will give credit to what I'll call typeless alchemy. This is alchemy that doesn't fall under a specific type. Against Greed, Ed manipulates his opponent's ultimate shield to become weaker. Against the Chimeras, Ed transmuted the saliva to turn it into water. He also transmuted a dynamite to make a horrible smell. While it's not typeless, he also created a smart trap against Lanfan. So the level 2 problem is that there isn't more crossover, and there isn't a good reason for it. Alchemy isn't biological, like other magic. It's not like you have an inherent element at birth, like in Avatar. It's based purely on knowledge, so theoretically, there's nothing stopping alchemists from having multiple types. Level 3 is the amount of types. Alchemy is matter manipulation, but in the entire story, there are only 4 types: Earth, Fire, Explosion, and Destruction. It is a missed tap-in to not include water and air. Those are the basic Greek elements. I know the anime has a water alchemist, but he's not canon. Ironically enough, he's one of the most creative alchemists. He could use his power to boil or freeze the water in his opponents, shapeshift water, shapeshift ice, and shapeshift his own blood. Fire isn't on the periodic table, so that means that other things like lightning, plants, sound, and light could have been manipulated. We can even get more scientific and have vector alchemy, laser alchemy, gravity alchemy, or space alchemy. And due to the precedence set by explosion, even more creative abilities could have been created. Explosion is explained by Kimblee creating an unstable imbalance of energy in whatever matter he touches, causing it to explode violently. That sounds scientifically shaky, but if that's allowed, so many other things could be allowed. In conclusion, FMA's alchemy never met its full potential due to the 3 levels. Level 1 is inspired by stories like Avatar, Naruto, JoJo, World Trigger, and One Piece. World Trigger is the best comparison because the actual abilities are so simple, like shooting lasers or having a shape-shifting sword, yet the characters come up with so many ways to use them. Avatar has earthbending, which looks and works very similar to earth alchemy, except it's used better. And then in a given type, characters can use niche bending types within it, like metal, lightning, ice, blood, and plant. One Piece, Naruto, and JoJo have characters with pretty simple abilities that are elevated by how creatively they're used by the characters that have them. Level 2 is inspired by Naruto, Magi, Avatar, and any story where the characters can teach someone else their move. In Naruto, several characters learn moves from their teachers. In Magi, characters can use all elements despite their natural affinity. In Avatar, the Avatar can learn all 4 elements. Level 3 was inspired by One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, and Toaru. In One Piece, Logia fruits have all kinds of elements. Naruto has the 5 base elements. Some Bleach Shikai have elemental types, like fire, ice, earth, wind, water, lightning, and darkness. Toaru has a scientific power system that uses his science better. That's what inspired some of the suggested types. They found scientific ways to justify vectors, lasers, teleportation, and much more. What I'm asking for is an uncharted territory. Every single one of these levels has been done well in a popular anime or cartoon. I think alchemy is an amazing magic system in theory, but a mediocre and overrated one in execution.